Hello, welcome back to Overall Comic Art and Design. And today I'm looking at thumbnails, the importance of thumbnails for your comic. And I've also created a bunch of templates for comic panels and pages. And I'm going to be playing around with those. So if you're a comic artist and you want to learn a little more about the process of thumbnailing comic book pages, then you're in the right place. Stick around. Hello again. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a comic book fan or an indie comic creator, then please like and subscribe. And in today's episode, we're continuing our series down the path of indie comic book creation. Could be a digital comic, a independent graphic novel, or a webtoon, or even your own self-published KDP or print-on-demand series. Why create an independent comic? Well, if you know me, it's no secret that I think that the mainstream comics, especially the main two, Marvel and DC, have really lost the plot lately. And I think the next great wave of comic book storytellers are going to be you, the independent creator. New readers are turning away from the superpowered slugfests of the North American superhero brands and instead turning to the storytelling of the Asian market like manga and adopting new platforms like digital comics through sites like webtoons. The number of webtoon readers and subscribers alone tells us that new readers are clearly looking for something new and reading digitally. And I think with free to publish platforms like Global Comics or Webtoons Canvas, that now could be a golden opportunity for creators and artists like you. So, as I film and share my process of building and creating my independent comic, hopefully it inspires you to take action and write and create your own comics. So, yeah, let's get back to thumbnailing. And for those of you who are new to the creating comic book process, thumbnailing is basically just mini roughs of each page. But first, I obviously don't just start drawing panels and comic pages right away. After I've come up with the initial concept, I like to develop the characters and design their look and begin world building the visual aesthetic of the entire story and concept. For this particular story, I wanted something quick and simplistic that I could put together, create a few pages with a retro sci-fi look, and then show the process of developing the story and putting it up onto Global Comics and sort of document all of that and show it to you. But as I began writing this short and simple script, it began to evolve, and I began to realize, oh, I think I'm going to continue this as an ongoing series, still in a very sort of retro simplistic style. I just had to go with it. So, first stage before thumbnailing is, of course, writing your script and nailing down all of your action and dialogue. So, as I'm roughing out some thumbnails for my comic on screen, let's talk about the comic page, the panels, the layout, the gutters, and the composition. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Brad Overall, and I'm an animator, storyboard artist, character designer, and freelance comic artist. And I've been drawing characters professionally for over 20 years. But as a young comic artist, you want to improve now and get your comic published and uploaded today. And that's why I wrote this ebook with over 20 pages of superhero and character design techniques that'll get you drawing and posing dynamic characters from memory in no time. Learn 20 years of drawing tips used by professionals all in one instant and simple download. Click the link in the description below to order and download yours right away. And it's also free for Patreon tiered members. I'm proud of this book, and it's one of the best ways to support the channel. So thank you so much. And let's start with the easiest one, a panel. What is a panel? A panel is essentially a single frame or scene from your comic. And an average comic book page should range anywhere from one panel, which would be a splash page, to six panels or more, depending on the amount of information or action that you're trying to tell in one page. A very common and generally accepted rule is to have around six panels per comic page. But keep in mind that would refer more to a general left to right scrolling or printed page comic. A webtoon, for example, which scrolls vertically, would be very different. And what a panel does is it captures a single moment in time, almost like a single frame from a film. But not just any frame. You want to fill each panel with the most relevant and informative visual beats in order to progress your story. To illustrate this concept further, let's look at a classic scene from a Star Wars movie and then break it down into a series of still images as a comic book page. So, first, let's take a look at the sequence. It's a classic sequence from Return of the Jedi. So here's the sequence. We all
Jabba,
know it. Luke is about to
this
be
is your last
executed in the
chance.
Sarlacc pit by Jabba,
Free us
but
or
Luke's got
die.
some new Jedi tricks up his sleeve. In fact, this is the first time we see Luke as a full-fledged Jedi and how advanced his Jedi skills have become at this point. There are several close-up reaction shots of characters in order to build tension, and I'm going to avoid those for the comic page. Luke gives the signal, R2 readies the lightsaber. Luke is pushed off the plank as R2 fires the lightsaber. Luke launches himself over the bad guys, catches the lightsaber, and an awesome action sequence begins. Classic Lucas Star Wars used to be great. This whole Jabba barge sequence is so awesome. Now let's show the exact same sequence as a 2-page comic book spread using only still images taken from key moments of each scene. The first page might look like this. Luke on the plank, he tries to reason with Jabba. Jabba orders him to be pushed into the Sarlacc pit. We get a shot of R2. Then below R2, I've added a wide establishing shot so that we can see where all the players are. Luke stares down the Sarlacc pit, gives the signal, jumps off the plank but grabbing it with one hand. And on the next page, Luke grabs the plank, pulling himself up. As R2 fires the lightsaber into the air, we see it in the air. Luke leaps over the bad guys. He lands on the barge, reaches up, catches it, then he ignites the lightsaber, and full-scale Star Wars action begins. So as you can see, a panel is a series of still images telling a sequence of events in a sequential story, almost like frames in a film, but only the frames that are essential to providing the information of each scene. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not overcomplicating it because it really is just pretty easy, straightforward series of images telling your story. So, what is a gutter? A gutter is that empty space in between the frames of your comic panels. To use another film analogy, it's when you cut from one scene to another. That negative space between the frames, that's essentially your cut. A gutter can also represent a passage of time. For example, if one of your characters in a certain comic panel suddenly appears in another location in the very next panel, it might seem like they just teleported there. Or the reader might assume that maybe there was a passage of time and now they're in a new location. However, your best bet is to insert a transition panel to show that character moving from one location to the next. In my rough panels on screen, I'm showing the character of Betty leaving the cockpit area holding a doorway, and then we're seeing her moving from one location to the next. She's climbing a ladder, then to appear in the cannon turret. We want to make it very easy for the reader to assume that between the panels in the gutters, that the characters are moving and performing actions that we don't need to see. And finally, what is composition and page layout? Well, if you've been following me for a little while, then you might know that I've already done an entire video on comic page composition, but let's go ahead and summarize the main points of composition right now. Composition, in the simplest terms, is how we arrange elements of a page in order to guide the viewer's eye. When referring to a comic book page, we have a series of images in a sequential pattern to tell a story. So we need to guide the viewer's eye from the first panel down to the bottom of the page in the final panel. And we do that in the thumbnail phase. We arrange the elements and the characters and the topics of the artwork and arrange it in a way that gives pattern and flow to the viewer's eye. On screen is page 2 of my thumbnail roughs. Can you spot the compositional flow? Can you see how I'm funneling the viewer's eye from top to bottom? There are other compositional tools that we can use to help guide the viewer's eye. Compositional tools like using the rule of thirds or the golden triangle all are extremely useful compositional tools to aesthetically present information and lead the viewer. So I think that's as good a place as any to end the video. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much. If you have any further questions on the topics of this video, please consider working with me. You can book a free chat in the link below, or consider booking an hour-long character design and storytelling coaching call. Use my 25 years of animation storytelling experience to bring your original concepts to life. Just click the links in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you again for checking out the video, and if you want to support the channel in another way, please consider becoming a Patreon member where I'll be going over more comic creation and storytelling concepts for Patreon members. So it's a great way to support the channel. I'll see you over there. Please leave me a comment below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that hype button, hit the like button. All of these things do wonders for the YouTube algorithm, and they all help this channel out immensely. So all the best, keep drawing, and I will see you in the next one.